never mind. I'm lying.
Yeah, for a second there it was there.
Okay.
Oh, we're back. Okay.
All right.
You must have clicked away because now OBS isn't recording it.
No, it's just every time you tab out of the game, it loses.
Ooh, I'm getting major echoing. Who's doing that? Oh, I'm hearing it. I'm hearing the stream. Okay, never mind.
All right, perfect. Let me turn myself up a bit.
Okay.
Okay.
Testing.
So should I mute the stream so I don't hear the echo?
Yes, you want to mute the stream.
Yep.
Unless you want to put up with the echo, so.
Gotcha.
Someone will tell me if the mix is good or bad, and I will try to compensate.
Okay.
We'll see how it goes.
Cool. Are you gonna be explaining the game, and we're just gonna sit here?
I mean, we'll explain what tech there is.
I can explain tech. Yeah, that's about all I know. Is there tech? Yeah. No.
No. Yeah. No.
No. The only tech is something that doesn't help you play the game, and that's out of bounds.
I did explain that during the run, so during my submission rather.
Oh, cool.
How do I pop out
All right.
the chat? I know how to do it on my dashboard.
Oh, popping out chat. It's chat settings. Pop out chat. It's next to the chat button.
Oh, the little, okay, I have to go down there. Gotcha.
Little wheelie. Yep.
Gotcha.
Oh, sweet. Jermensch is doing a restream? Oh, hell yeah.
I had to turn. Oh, here we go. He says okay.
Alright. It'll be live in 20 seconds. Alright. He'll tell us when we're live, which is a mistake I made. There we are.
Here we go. Hello, everyone. I am Flapjack. In Discord with me are Gelly and Zoustus, my speedrunning compatriots.
Hi.
Howdy.
This is Return of the Obra Dinn, the latest game from Lucas Pope. Famously made Papers, Please, and this is his second game, I believe. So, this submission was a mistake. It's not. This is a fantastic game, but people among you who like fast runs are going to be slightly disappointed by the speedrun, but trust me when I say the game is worth. All right. Let's get rid of our slot. And time begins when I click on begin. So, I have plenty of time to talk during the run. 3, 2, 1, go.
Welcome to our podcast. This is our first episode. All right, so I feel like I want to explain this because I'm the angriest about this speedrun. So what this speedrun essentially boils down to is attempts at hyper-optimized movement for about 10 to 15 seconds, maybe 25 seconds if you're lucky, followed by a minute of waiting. And it's unskippable waiting, and it's a cutscene that you have to endure. Okay? Now, I'm not saying this is somebody who hasn't run the game before. I actually have the record in Captain %, which is a meme category. I spent hours on a meme category, but essentially we are going to have 50 little set pieces, which casually is fantastic, right? It's awesome, but from a speedrunning perspective, it's 50 auto scrollers.
Yeah.
Like, no joke, it's 50 auto scrollers.
So we're gonna go over and touch that guy.
To make it...
It's too heavy.
Yeah, for sure. A big recommend on playing this game casually.
Yeah, if none of you have played this game casually, I cannot insist enough that you find the money to go buy this game and play it.
It's too heavy.
Do not speedrun it. Well,
Do not-
okay. Speedrun it at your own risk, because you will... it's just rough. You know?
Yeah.
Because, like, you see these sort of segments where he's doing the ladders and manipulation. There's at least one skip in this game, the Storm cutscene skip. But that's it, right? I mean, there's an out of bounds that I found once, which is actually sort of cool, but it serves
no purpose. And we tried. We actually spent hours trying to make it work.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And it's actually a really cool method to do it too. But no, all it boils down to is, yeah. The funniest thing about it is that the Switch version, which is not what's being run here, is faster from a movement perspective. So they decided, okay, you need to move faster, which is a great decision because you move really slow in this game. But the load times on Switch are so
bad.
prohibitively bad.
So bad.
So prohibitively bad. Like at yeah, it must have been AGDQ 2020, right?
Yeah, we were in the practice room.
Yeah, Flapjack and I discovered it, and basically what it boils down to is the Switch is better to play, but the loading times are they're killer, right? So.
Yep.
And I was there too.
Yes.
So this is there too.
If our voices sound familiar, it's because the last time anyone would have heard our voices is all together on the couch during the missed speedrunning block at AGDQ 2020. Also, this guy's been shot. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, so... Oh yeah, these are fantastic. You should at least walk around a little bit.
Oh yeah, I mean, check this out. It looks so cool.
But you have to wait through all of these set pieces. Yeah,
It's not like there isn't time.
Yeah.
There's plenty of time.
Also, someone did post it in chat. Shoutouts to Darkit, who is the current world record holder in any % and 100% now. So for PC,
yep.
yeah.
Yeah, he hasn't touched Captain %, thankfully.
So as Gelly mentioned, what we do to speed up movement is we basically cut out as much movement as we can. So I'm basically is face planting against this door, waiting for my opportunity to walk through it.
We should mention that the basic concept of the game is that you're an insurance adjuster, and there's a ship that went missing, and you come back and you have to piece together the fates of what happened to all the missing crew members.
Will we be doing that? Absolutely not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what we're not actually going to do that, but we're going to see the cutscenes where people die, so that's kind of cool. And we see that with the use of a magic pocket watch.
When you say it like that, when you say you're an insurance agent, that sounds super boring. But like,
we are.
It is like a genuine. It's a really compelling story.
I mean,
like,
literally,
genuinely,
that's what you are. Yeah.
But insurance sounds boring. I don't know.
That's how I always title my streams: insurance adjusting for sub 2 or something like that.
Well, someone hasn't studied enough actuary science.
Oh.
Please leave actuarial science out of this.
Oh man.
So you'll notice that every time he's entering a set piece, what he's doing is he's like flipping open this watch that, you know, it shows the moment of death.
Yep.
And so seeing all of these set pieces of death, you're able to determine, okay, who is still alive, what happened to the person who died, who killed them, piecing together identities. It's, you know, it's fantastic. But like, even if I know all the solutions, like I know this guy. This guy's name is Brennan.
Don't tell. No spoilers.
Oh, we're not gonna. We're bound to have spoilers to some degree.
I mean, the chat can spoil it if they want, but I wasn't going to spoil it for anyone. I want them to play the game.
I figured this one out relatively early, so therefore everyone figures this one out relatively early.
There you go. Someone in this scene is named that name.
I can pick out all of these names and tell you who they are, how they died, exactly who killed them, and everything like that. But that doesn't help you go any faster.
No, it doesn't.
You have to wait through this minute. I could know all of the information in the world. Okay, a
In fact,
godsend.
it helps you go slower because then you have to enter all the names in the book, which
Yeah.
we're not doing.
Oh,
for this
yeah, that's right. So for any percent, we're basically going to be the worst insurance agent possible. For 100%, you're basically attempting to fill out all of this logic correctly. But for any percent, you can just endure all of these minute-long set pieces, and then you just leave and say, oh, "I don't know what happened," and that's a
shrug.
it's a valid ending. It works, so it's any percent, right? You can't finish the game any earlier, so
Yeah. So
that's how
100%.
we do it.
From that perspective, 100% is the more skill-based one because it is basically very precise menuing. Menuing is where you lose all your time in 100%.
But
Whereas,
it's such a weak approach to call it skill-based.
I mean-
honestly,
Well,
I mean, it's
mostly memorization.
but
and
consider this.
menuing, yeah.
Consider this. Any percent, like 2 minutes out of an hour and 30-something minute run, 2 minutes separates basically everyone on the leaderboard.
yeah. Oh yeah, there's an achievement for blaming the captain for every murder. Doing that is called Captain Percent, and
Yep.
I have the world record in it.
Meme
only
run.
because Dark Kid won't run it. I'm pretty sure he doesn't want to put in the effort. It's sort of mid-tier between any percent and 100%, in that you have to interact with the book to some degree, but you get to skip all of the cutscenes that are associated with finishing the fates in the book.
Yeah.
So it's basically any percent, but you add on, like, I don't know, 4 minutes. Sounds about right.
Yeah.
I don't remember what my time is. It's been so long since I played this game. So
You keep trying to shame me out of continuing to play it too.
I mean,
I think you could do better, man. The reason that I at least if I spoke for myself, if I were to speedrun this game again, it's just because I enjoy the aesthetic so much. This is for a speed game. So that's why Flapjack submitted this to this very serious speedrunning marathon.
Just
And
to
the
spite
RNG
Gelly.
wheel pit. Good lord. Well, technically, we are spoiling like a serious amount of this game by
right, just
playing
seeing
it.
the scenes.
True.
I mean,
there's a lot.
But the hard part of the game
But-
isn't meant to be viewing these scenes. The hard part of the game is figuring it out.
And we definitely need to show those scenes off because they're awfully cool.
Yeah, and if you're like, oh, this is really neat, like, you know, we're actually starting at the end of the game. These are the last people to die on the ship, but
Yeah.
we're gonna actually be. All of these scenes are playing out in reverse, so
Well, not.
Not exactly, but sort of.
mostly in reverse.
It's sort of like Memento in the storytelling, sort of, but it's basically you can pick out the cutscenes whenever you want to, or whenever you conveniently discover them. And so you're supposed to be able to piece this story from a jumbled mess. It's impossible. Well, okay, technically it is not impossible to do, because you don't have to do these guys first. You don't have to do the end section first, because you can technically look at the lady in the bed early by doing Out of Bounds, but that's not actually going to save you any time. Remember? Because we did that at
Yeah, we
GDQ
did.
once.
Yep.
We left those 4 guys, which you're supposed to encounter first, at the very end, just in case you could skip them, but you can't.
You
So-
can't, and we tried. We tried really hard.
But things are
By
about to get a
trying-
little more exciting here,
Yep,
at
so,
least in terms of the plot.
well, the visuals at the very least. We're not going to be able, well, the plot does, well, I mean, 4 people die. We saw 4 people die. That should be interesting on its own, right? And actually, sort of the way that it thrusts you into it is interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, now we get to see scenes where like the ship is tipped over and stuff like that.
Yeah. From a lore perspective, this ship arrived back with, no hands left. And, so we've got to find out how everyone died. And yes, they're kind of, at sea in a storm, but then other shit's going to happen.
Other ship is going to happen.
Yeah.
Flapjack.
Sorry.
This is a family-friendly stream.
My apologies.
Like a kraken.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Like, the wildlife.
Is it a kraken? I don't remember.
I think so.
Absolutely.
Probably.
It's even referred to by name as a kraken.
Yeah, that's true.
By who? Was it?
The captain.
Oh, does he?
Yeah. But
Yep, right at the very end.
Okay. Wow. I don't remember that. Shows how much information I know about this game. So yeah, meet the Kraken, and these 3D set pieces with the visual style.
Yeah,
it's fantastic. Yeah, but now we're just gonna watch a bunch of people die in order.
Yeah,
so that's fun. Who doesn't love that?
Ooh, the most gruesome one of all maybe is next.
Yeah. So.
Is that Maba getting?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
shoot.
No, stop it! No spoilers.
Yeah, that is a pretty gruesome one. I don't know. I think the most gruesome one is when those two guys get.
Oh yeah, we'll see them. We'll see them later.
The artist too is a good one.
So
We're
this
10
is
minutes in, yo.
yeah. So this is called
Run out of cut.
this is called a memory hunt. So what's going to happen is we're going to follow the smoke trail around. So bodies kind of get daisy chained together when they've been washed overboard. So all you have is kind of like the imprint of the body. So the watch allows you to hop from body to body to body, and it's just called a memory hunt in the game. So,
Is it? I didn't know that was a. Did Dark Kid look through the code and that's what they're calling it, or?
I actually looked in the code, and that's what it's called.
Oh, that's wild. Okay,
It's never referred to in game as that.
Yeah.
Sure.
There's very few things that are referred to in game. There's an entire glossary where you can see sort of the vocabulary that's involved with like the ship and everything, which
In
helps.
case you didn't know what an Orloff deck was,
Yeah.
What is an Orlop deck?
it's the deck above the lowest deck.
Very good.
We could spend some
sounds
time and like get into some Wikipedia articles during this run because we have that much time.
Well, the Obra isn't a real ship, and
It's not a real ship, but it's happening canonically. It's happening in the real world.
Based off of a real ship, though, I think was the HMS Jaguar that he based it off.
Yeah. So, I mean, time-wise, this is happening in 1803 to 1807 is when the ship went missing. So that's like the Napoleonic era.
right.
You know, some guys over there who thought that they could row away during a storm. Didn't turn out so.
They did for an amount of time.
for a certain distance.
Yeah.
Yeah, they weren't 100% wrong.
So yeah, we've run out of topics. 12 minutes in.
No, we did not. I mean, unless you want to continue spoiling the game for everyone.
I like spoiling the game. It's fun.
It's like spoiling everything.
Wow.
Identifying that guy who got torn apart generally takes people a long time, but
I don't know. I figured it out relatively easily, but
yeah, we got it fairly quickly too when we played it. But
Okay, here's an example of actual tech in the game. I'm going to place myself on this side of his body so that I can later shorten the distance that I have to walk to the next thing.
So an interesting thing with that kind of smoky trail that zooms around and then drops the body on the ground is that the smoke trail will not proceed if you're not looking at it. So the game will sort of wait for you, and the music will even sort of go on repeat and wait for you while the smoke just kind of lingers until you look at it again.
Yeah. So yeah, there are some sections where it's real rough to be able to look at the smoke during the entire time. I can think of at least one example during chapter 9, I think it is, where you're going down a series of stairs and you have to watch the smoke trail during that whole thing. It's real rough.
Yeah. We try to
thankfully-
optimize those as much as we can.
Yeah, there's only so much you can do.
Yeah.
Thankfully, your speed, if you're like, even if you're strafing, going forwards, backwards, I think is the same in every direction. So
Yes.
you shouldn't have to have problems with that sort of disconnect between looking in a certain direction and losing your maximum speed. But it's a small consolation prize, I guess.
Yeah. So this door appears at the end of every segment of memories. So we guess, like you saw, like it was every memory in the first part of the game. So, but now it's going to be after a longer sequence of bodies. So once again, we just jam ourselves into it and wait for the cutscene to end.
So yeah, let me see. There is some other tech which I think we're gonna get into once we start getting into the decks, where you can look at bodies from a place where you really physically shouldn't, but the sphere of influence is large enough to where you totally can.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. It's better to see those when they're physically seeing, but But yeah, and walking.
Yep. Walking.
Oh yeah, and the routing. The routing is sort of important.
It has changed. It did actually change over the course of this speedrun's evolution. When I started running the game, an Aussie streamer called Mac to the Future had the record, and I followed his route and beat his time, but then Galabep showed up and rerouted it, and his route was faster by about 30 seconds, so...
Yeah. And again, that does come down to walking distance. On the ship, there are quite a few beginnings of threads into memory hunts.
Mm-hmm.
So basically what it boils down to is figure out, traveling salesman style, what is the best connection between all those from beginning to end and so on and so forth.
Yep. And then let's see, who else? So then Darkid came along. Darkid actually is the one who came up with the majority of the movement improvements. So figuring out where to stand, how to position yourself in between scenes, and I don't know if it was Darkid or Galabep that found the major skip, but I'm the one that pointed it out, like, hey, this saves time. I think someone got it by accident in one of their runs, and then I was like, wait a minute, your mistake saves time.
Yeah, that one. Yep. How much time does that save too?
Like 10 to 12 seconds, something like that.
It's wild. That's a lot of time in this game.
And it's like the only real sequence break. Like everything.
It's not a sequence break. It's a skip.
It's a skip. Yeah. Lucas Pope did a really good job of coding this game's logic because you cannot skip mostly anything in this game.
Yeah. It's a Unity game too, which
is really surprising.
that it's as solid as it is. It sort of makes sense though that basically instead of having it such that, when you look at the last body or something like that, something happens. It's when you look at every single one.
Yeah.
Or does the tick marks get checked off? And so basically the lock and jick is rock solid. I would love to see a sequence break in this game.
We would all love to see a sequence break in this game. Actually, so the one that has been found, that was found actually recently, and it's not a sequence break so much as a skip, is that it doesn't apply to any percent, but in 100%, as you confirm fates, there's control is taken from you, and it ticks them off in the book. It fills them in permanently to show, hey, you've gotten this correct. And I found out that if you save, quit the game, and reload, or if you just Alt F4 the game and start it again, it just skips to the end of all that. It saves how many seconds? 5 every time you do it, or something like that.
It depends on which fate you're doing and how much book flipping that you do, but yeah, it can be up to 5 seconds. Is that allowed? I thought
we collectively decided, since Gelly, Darkid, and I are the only ones on the top of the leaderboard right now, we basically had a discussion on the Discord for this game, and we're like, do we want to allow this? And everyone was basically mum, so we're like, I guess not.
Yeah, it's I don't think I would want to play a speed game where you have to Alt F4 every... I don't know. It'd be a very common occurrence. It would make this game faster, but I think it relies too much on how your computer is set up.
Yeah,
for it to be
it hands time back to the people whose loads are best, and that's a little unfair.
It's just it's already not fair because we don't do load removal, even though for the most part Lucas did a really good job making sure that load times.
You don't wait during this game.
Yeah, they're smeared across
not
these
for loads at least.
Yeah. For the most part, you don't have issues with loading, because the only times that the game would load, and you can actually tell when you play this on the Switch, it's anytime that you enter a memory between when the screen goes black to the dialogue starting. That is a loading time, and that can be 15 seconds long on the Switch. But as you're seeing with Flapjack's computer, it's it's instant, and that's pretty much the case for everyone who's run this game.
Yeah, we haven't seen it. I think everyone just runs it on whatever SSD they have, and there's we haven't noted even a 1/10 of a second of difference of load time. So
yeah,
this game is wrapped up pretty tight, unfortunately.
Yeah. it would be so interesting if things like Out of Bounds were ways that you could skip the game, because then you could have like an any percent category that was 7 minutes long or whatever.
Yeah.
Although even then that would sort of be like you'd have an any percent category that's 7 minutes, and then an any percent glitches category which is an hour and 34 minutes long.
Yeah.
You know?
Maybe one day we will figure out how to basically cut out every single one of these waiting scenes by editing the game, modding the game, but we're not there yet.
Oh, yeah, I guess that would be possible. There's probably literally a timer in the game. I didn't even think about that. That's probably a smart thing to do, considering I don't know if we have the source to like the assembly DLLs or whatever, but if we did, I bet you could
get a Kickstarter together to have Lucas Pope.
Lucas Pope, put a New Game Plus in, please. We love you and we love this game. Please make New Game Plus just for us. We want to keep playing it.
Please let us skip this game. Please let us play less of it.
Yes, please let us play less of your game. Perfect.
Man.
So the other thing is happening is that in some of these memories, you're actually meant to actually go up and down between decks to see things that aren't happening right in front of you. It rewards people who look around to see what's going on elsewhere, not necessarily, right in front of you. So there's a lot of context. Yeah.
I mean, like, look at this particular instance with this body. Like, you have to go up through the decks. You have to do a lot of exploration. There's a lot of small details in this game. Some more questionable than others, but for the most part, it's a pretty solid logic and production game.
The things which are definitely praiseworthy are the sound and music design, which are like 10 out of 10.
Yep.
Oh yeah, we still haven't gotten to the best music in the game.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. What is your definition of the best music in the game?
Oh, Soldiers of the Sea.
Oh,
okay,
my man.
You're right. I was gonna say Soldiers of the Sea. Yeah.
Yep. Soldiers of the Sea, easily best music in the game.
It's all good, but that's the best.
Yeah, the bell kills. Yeah.
All right. So, same deal. We're going to position our back to this guy because we want to go back down below decks. So we're going to position ourselves closer to where we need to go next. Save about a second or two of walking time.
It's very slight.
True story. I actually PB'd while submitting this game for this speedrun.
GG. Did you submit it? I didn't see any record.
I did not submit it. I'm actually hoping to PB again during the marathon.
That's so ridiculous. Oh my god.
I mean, I'm PBing by tenths, if not, seconds, if not tenths. So.
Yeah. I mean, let's see. How far are you behind Darkhead?
About 12 seconds. 12 to 15 seconds. I still got my second place spot tied up. I'm the former world record holder in every category of this game until Galleon Darkhead came along.
Yeah. I mean, you literally did take back captain % away from me when I learned.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I really do only hold the Obra Dinn captain % as a technicality at this point. If I can pull it up there.
I'll tell you what, though, if somebody out in the community loved this game enough to want to speedrun it, we haven't yet seen a time from a PS4 Pro with SSD to see if that's any different. So.
Yeah, we have there's 4 different things you could sort of take a look at. There's PC and Mac, which I don't think there's a difference in Mac. I would love to be wrong, but I don't think there's a difference between PC and Mac.
Not that we know of.
Switch, we definitely know is slower, and then there's PS4 and Xbox One.
Mm-hmm.
So anyone wants to see if the loading times are manageable and the sort of the speed is more manageable, you could get the actually fastest time.
Yeah, and it's a free. Free real estate. It's a free world record right now.
It is a free world record right now, but uncontested world records.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, that's the thing Darkhead always does in these runs. So, in case you're a total nerd, Darkhead has literally his webcam for runs like these.
I forgot about this.
Him playing the game, right? You know, doing the whole sort of movement section, and then the moment that he hits a memory, he solves a Rubik's Cube over and over and over again.
Yeah, and he's during his world record run, he is like lambasting himself over his Rubik's Cube strats as much as game strats.
It's just, yeah, no, it's that's as you can tell, you have a lot of time in this game.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know what I spent a lot of my time doing. I think I was doing Obra Dinn speedruns on a flight because I just had nothing else to do. I didn't have any internet, so I just decided when you have a lot of time, this is a good run to do because it takes forever.
Yeah, it sure does. So
and it's relatively easy to pull off.
It is. So something you just saw is I opened this door and then there was a skeleton in the door. So what I did is I actually didn't go in. I stayed outside the room, and that's going to be important for the next scene because when it loads, the door will be closed. But because I didn't enter the room, I don't have to stand there and open the door. I can immediately start the what they call the memory hunt without having to open the door and wait. It saves like 3 or 4 seconds. It's pretty significant.
It's an actually significant skip, yeah. You don't stand in the doorway, right?
No, you stand right outside it. Darkid actually positions himself more towards the hinges so he doesn't grab the handle accidentally. I forgot to do that, so I'm going to be careful.
Yeah. Well, just don't mash click and you'll be fine.
Yeah. Dang it.
This is the beginning of Escape, yeah.
I grabbed the door handle.
GG.
The thing is that you're rooted in place, so you can't actually start moving until you click the stopwatch. So
these are some pretty gruesome deaths. I forgot about these.
It ended up being a good thing that he went with the 1-bit dithered style because this would be pretty gory of a game if
it would be
like an actual graphic.
Hyper realistic, yeah.
Yeah.
Creepypasta material. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. So you can see that a lot of stuff it ends up being that a lot of these scenes are very hectic and a lot of stuff is happening all at once. So you're often, when you're trying to solve the game casually, you're trying to understand, you know, the sequence that plays out, because as you're viewing it for the first time, it's all happening in reverse.
Yeah. There is one exception to this. There's 2 exceptions to this, isn't there?
Yeah, the start plays out in the correct order.
Yeah. Does loose cargo technically play in the correct order too?
It's not really. It doesn't really. I guess if you.
It's simultaneous, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much simultaneous. So.
All right. We'll get there. We're almost. Well, are we almost there? I don't remember how long it takes to get to.
We're a little ways away. And don't worry, I failed the first door skip, but there is a second one, and I'll try to get that one.
What's the second one?
Cargo hold.
Oh, yeah, that's right. With the freaking, they stuffed the monster. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
So you might be looking at this wondering why it takes longer for me to put the pocket watch to open it. And we thought that it was huge load inconsistencies, and it turns out it's not. What it is, as you can see, the smoke trail kind of like fills out, and it kind of displays the corpse, and it actually has to finish loading that animation before you can click the stopwatch. So basically, the larger the corpse and like the splatter, the longer it takes before you can click the watch.
Which is
and there's some big corpses coming up later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some where it doesn't feel like the right sort of, size. Like you get a long amount of delay on a smaller body, but it probably turns out that there's splatter somewhere else or something like that.
Yeah.
Splatter, check this out.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
This is, again, a good thing it's only the two-tone color palette, because this would be pretty gnarly.
it's still gnarly. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, this game is basically Doom.
He was only proposing mutiny, dude.
I know.
Well, they both reached for the gun.
Captain cannot be trusted.
There's during runs of this, there's a lot of memeing going on.
Because you hear these dialogues a lot, and they're good dialogues.
Very excellent voice acting. Excellent voice acting.
Oi, you'll not be taking this last boat.
I know, it's so good.
Damn.
I think one of the reasons that although people watching this will be like, why would you speedrun this? The game really is that good. How good the game is makes the run bearable.
I think I just realized why I like playing Mist Rev so much. I think it's the cutscenes. Sort of the same sort of idea where experiencing these cutscenes over and over.
The cutscenes are hilarious. The game is bad, but the cutscenes are hilarious.
I mean, like, even with this game, the cutscenes still are very good. Like, as you're speedrunning it, it's sort of a nice sort of experience. But, like, in Revelation, the cutscenes just get better the more you play it, which is silly.
It would actually make for a decent, like, awful boss.
Should we? That's such a good idea. Ugh. Just dumping a body overboard, nothing to see here.
That's true.
Well, how many should we count how many bodies are dumped overboard?
This is the thing, though. Depending on how you play the game. Okay, I will give you a minor spoiler. It's not going to help you beat the game, but I will give you a minor spoiler. Part of 100% routing was going through the book and discovering how many different possibilities there are for every person.
Oh, yeah.
So
because you can technically enter in different deaths, but they
all get accepted as correct, yeah.
Yeah, the game is pretty lenient in how you say that people died.
Mm-hmm.
If there's any sort of question or, if you're not sure, chances are the game will accept anything that you're thinking of as possible.
So for 100%, it was basically discovering what the fastest menu was based on what the accepted correct answers were.
Which is, yeah. I mean, it's silly, but it works.
Yep.
I mean, anything to squeeze out the last sort of second out of this game.
Yeah, you are squeezing tenths and seconds out of this game.
Because you're investing an hour and 30-something minutes.
Yeah.
You want to make sure you get it all.
So the other part of the smoke trail is that you actually have to keep it in visual range for it to proceed. If you actually lose visual contact with it, it will stop. So you have to be able to watch it the whole way around. So
this is the example I was talking about earlier in regards to the smoke trail.
Yeah.
Where it's hard to follow this one.
The one coming up next is the hard to follow one. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
This actually
likes to do circles.
That's part of how we noticed the difference in walking speed between the Switch and the PC was how easy it was to follow certain smoke trails.
That is why walking speed doesn't save as much time as you think it would, because for like 80% of the memories that you're looking at, you're hanging on that sort of smoke trail watching it. And if you could outpace it, that's a problem. And actually, you often do outpace
Yeah,
it.
you do. And in the port walk later on the Switch, you can absolutely outrun the smoke trail.
Yeah. But that doesn't save you any time because
you have to stay behind it.
Sort of yeah. Well, you just have to be looking at it at the very least. And going past it, it's just a pain.
So, all right. So, as you might have noticed, like a lot of areas are blocked off on the ship, and the idea being that as you work your way through these sequence of memories, like new areas will open up that weren't opened before. And there's not really a canonical explanation for that, but that's basically what happens. If you view a memory of someone opening another deck, the deck opens for you.
Yep.
And I'll point that out.
Work of, what are you going to point out?
I was going to point out in this upcoming memory that someone opens the next deck for us.
Oh, yeah, very good.
Yeah, that doesn't make perfect sense, unlike the Magic Pocket Watch.
It's all in the day's work of an insurance agent.
Yeah.
When someone opens a door for you, it's an open door. Even if they're dead and they opened the door 50 years ago.
So, wait,
5 years ago.
Does that mean the insurance agent is a vampire?
Oh,
That
jeez.
that part's
Don't
never
drop-
explained. Although if you get the true ending, their study does look, very Victorian.
Yeah, which is why. Well, yeah. Not only is it very Victorian, it's populated with a lot of other stories.
Yeah.
Which sort of. I mean, that's one of the things people were sort of theorizing that there was going to be a
More
sequel
of this
to
game. Yeah.
I
I would not
don't
be
know,
opposed. I think it's going to be hard to capture this lightning again, but I wouldn't be
yeah.
opposed to him trying.
Yeah, I'd love to see it again. I don't think he should, but if he does, I definitely would buy the game again, or buy,
So here you
He'll
go.
do something different and also good.
This guy is opening the deck, the one deck down. So we're on the gun deck right now. That's the Orlip deck, and it's being opened now.
We hit 1K. Dang, good stuff.
Keep donating, everyone. This is really awesome.
Yeah, I know.
Shout out to all the donos.
Oh yeah, so this is the guy opening the deck.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing is that this door also gets opened right here, and you might very well overlook it, but this door being opened right here by this guy is also happening. So both two doors get opened at the end of this memory. But basically, now we're at our next end of run of memories, so we are basically filling out this book entry and then down one deck into the next string of deaths.
Which does that start off with the dude's leg, or does that start off with?
I think it starts off with the cow, right?
It's
The
exactly
cow?
the cow
Okay.
skull, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's right. That's all in the routing. We get to see a cow die. Isn't that fun?
Everyone
that
wanted
fun, yo?
everyone wanted to see that today.
That's what's going to upset everybody.
We're
Yeah.
gonna see a
People die.
cow get domed.
I mean, sailors got to eat, got to get that fresh beef.
Never been on a farm before, Charlie.
Alrighty. We close the book. We do a 180 and we head downstairs. Being careful not to clip this corner. And then straight forward to this guy. Alright, so this starts the bitter cold chapter.
Heads are here. One swing. Get through the skull and
I'm not sure we want to not talk over a cow dying.
Come on before she takes
Well, I've got enough delay where I can't tell. So.
Oh, I see. All right.
And also, I've got to mute it because this is always horrifying.
Oh, you don't care for it?
there, sir.
I'm not a big fan of the cow dying. No.
No, that's fair.
Get her through and stun her brain. I'll cut her throat when you've done it. Yeah. Yikes.
Yeah. And then, of course, one of the poor guys gets sick. So again, this is one of those things where it might seem that you're meant to see this, but what this actually is kind of a gateway into viewing the more relevant deaths. So the game does this a couple of times. So
It does this 3 times. One of them we don't get to see in this run.
yep.
Yeah, the other one's in loose cargo, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty consistent with the mechanic of the watch picks up on the moment of something's death, and that's what it takes you to.
Yep.
And so sometimes you need a non-human to die to sort of be the gateway to a chain of death.
So what else can we talk about? Oh, okay. So things that you're not seeing in this run. Obviously, there is a good ending, 100% ending to this game, which we're completely avoiding. And by not doing that ending, I think we saved something like 22 minutes or something like that. 22, 23 minutes.
Well, let me check. The difference between any percent and 100% is 23 minutes, but part of that is filling out the book.
The other part of that is the fact that you have to go through a few more deaths.
You have to go through a few more, set pieces. But yeah, the fact that 100% is so much longer. It probably is 50-50 because filling out the book takes forever. Because every single time that every time in this book you fill out 3 fates correctly, what it does is it like stops you and it's like, wow, you did it. And then it flips to each of those, makes them permanent. And then it goes through this animation of the end of the book where it counts and everything. And it's fantastic and all, but it takes like 30 seconds
lot.
every time that you fill
Yeah.
out 3 fates, and there are a total of 60 fates, something like that.
60, yeah.
So you know, that adds up real quickly.
Yeah.
Uh,
And
to-
the thing is that you're actually not seeing the book, and there's a lot of resources that are in the book that we picked up at the very start of the game. Before we got the pocket watch, like there's a ship's manifest, a map of the ship, a couple of artists' renditions that kind of have everyone visible. So like even if you haven't seen someone, it lets you kind of put a face to a reference. So there's a lot that you aren't getting to see because we don't open the book, because simply the act of opening the book loses time.
it takes forever, yeah.
Yeah, all critical stuff for actually, playing the game, but not for this.
Yeah, again, even knowing all this sort of stuff, it doesn't. Yeah, it's just all irrelevant. It's just a hunt from one thing to another. It's very similar to Dinn in that sort of way, with the markers and everything.
To Dinn there being another missed speedrun.
I'm sorry. There's a DLC to a Myst game, which is basically you find 30 things that are scattered through space and time.
And it's more now the DLC to Obra.
The DLC to a Myst game.
Yeah, it's a similar sort of, you're just walking around from place to place to speedrun being bad. Although I don't know, I haven't seen that one yet, so who knows. But yeah, there's plenty of runs out there in case you're the sort of aspiring fellow or person, the sort of aspiring person who's looking to grind your face on a run where you're basically walking from place to place. Obra Dinn is for you.
I will say, I mean, for all of its faults, it was actually my first speedrun. This is the game, believe it or not, that got me into speedrunning.
Yeah, we all start somewhere, and that's right, because basically what it boiled down to is you started with this one, and then you're like, there's so much better? What?
I mean, I was like, well, I like this game a lot, so I was like, what other games would I want to play? And I think a lot of speedrunners end up taking the route of, oh, I grew up playing this game, or I played this game a lot when I was a teenager or a kid. Let me go back and see what that speedrun is like. And I think I daisy-chained right from here into the Myst series. So.
Yeah.
All right. So, and I mean, to be fair, if you are interested in getting into speedrunning, you're like, I don't know where to start. A lot of runs are hard to learn. This is actually, any percent here is a good test of your memorization and execution without being heavily skill-based. So
yeah, very same with 100% for the memorization and skill base. Yeah, definitely the sort of run where it's like, there's no super complicated frame perfect tricks. Like the hardest thing that you have to do is mouse. You have to mash left click
once in the run.
At the end of the run.
Yeah.
Once in the run.
And it's like free. It's like not even frame perfect. It's pretty free.
Yeah. So yeah, it's relatively easy to pull off, and if you're the sort of person who really likes this game, which that should be most of you out there, honestly.
Yeah.
And it is a good starter. I will give you that. I would not say that it's definitely a game that you would continue speedrunning for a long time.
No, unless you're me.
You'd go insane after a while, honestly. Which is why you submitted this run. Fantastic decision. To submit this run.
Big John is never inviting me back.
The RNG wheel picked you. All you need to do is next time that he picks an RNG wheel marathon, just submit
another game that's oh man I want to ingratiate myself to the speedrunning community, not alienate myself.
Yeah, you could have had my Uru ABM run.
Uru has tech. Uru has hard things in it.
We are not blaming Big John for not picking your Uru run. That's totally fine.
All right, so we've seen some strange things happen so far. This is usually the point in the casual playthrough where you're like, okay, another death, and then you look through this tiny hole in the wall, and you're like, what on earth is going on?
Yeah.
Also, this is where the music gets hype.
Yeah.
Yep. It's fantastic. I'm not even listening to it, and it's fantastic.
I know.
Yeah, I have it muted as well for non.
So you don't get an echo. Yeah.
Yeah, but I've got it in my head. It's playing in my head.
Yeah. No, yeah. This game's soundtrack is amazingly on point.
Yeah.
If we want to talk about that again,
we're gonna harp on it a lot. I can't stress it enough. I don't care if you think this run is lame. This game is awesome.
Yeah.
And I will be the first to admit that yes, this is not your top tier, SM64 or Super Mario Maker 2 or.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Do you see the movement in this run? These long jumps, these jump dives, Lakitu skip. I mean, come on. None of them. They all pale in comparison to clicking as fast as you can.
Yeah.
I mean, this is only 60 fates as compared to like 120 stars.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right. So
exactly. Should be
half the things means half the time. It's faster, better speedrun.
Yeah.
This is a shorter run than 120 star, isn't it?
Oh,
I don't remember.
I don't know. We'd have to get Cheese on the horn and ask him what his PB is.
Get him on the horn.
That's just how
What
math
is this?
works.
The 1960s? I haven't heard that phrase. 120 star is like 138. I mean, look at what you're getting in this, hour 34 run.
Oh yeah.
Look at this.
The world's best auto-scroller.
And are there any murderous crab demons in SM64?
Exactly. No one gets that in Super Mario. 138XX. Oh, we're faster than 120.
Exactly.
Thank you, Tasselfoot.
Yes. 60 fates in it's like a 138.45 because they did that at Smash the Record of DSM. But you get to see 60 fates in this. No, it's like 50 because not spoilers. Not everyone dies in this game.
It's 58.
It's 58.
It's disappointing, isn't it?
58?
Yeah.
There's 60 people in the book, right?
Yeah, but you view more than that at the end at the last chapter. But there's only 2 on the manifest in the last chapter.
No, because there's like plenty of living people who you see where they die in a different way, where you don't get to see their fates. Like how many of these set pieces? Is it 58 set pieces?
Yep, we view 50.
It's not 58. He's talking about like the scenes, the set pieces.
The scenes.
Yeah, we view.
It's less than 58.
You're right. It is.
50.
It is less than that. There's actually more than 60 set pieces that we see because there's things like the cow dying and stuff like that. But
well, yeah. But like at the same time, all the people on the lifeboat, you don't get to see where they die.
No.
All the
other people on the
missing
lifeboat.
people kind of reduce that count.
Yeah, and sometimes multiple people die in the same scene. Actually, we're gonna see that relatively
very good.
soon,
The next thing after this, we're gonna see exactly that.
Yeah.
Although it's not the first time it's happened. There was a poor, unfortunate incident with a cannon earlier that also caused 2 people to die at the same time.
Yeah.
I hate when I get shot with a cannon by a giant squid.
That's one of the ways you can interpret it.
It is one of the ways you can interpret it.
You can
There's
also
a
blame
couple
the
ways.
other guy who's like standing next to the cannon.
Yeah.
Which
Well,
actually,
what's he gonna do about it? He's lit the fuse at this point.
right? But
like-
you could blame him, and then like his estate is.
You could blame him. Failed to put out the fuse fast enough. It's your fault.
I forgot about that. That's one of the biggest things that I wanted to sort of propose people look into is
Can you blame Shirley?
when you blame people or you determine how deaths work and everything like that at the end of the game, it rewards or takes away money from people's estates.
Oh yeah, we thought about doing that as a
So-
category, didn't we?
You could have a high score category where by figuring out exactly what fates are meant to be entered, even if they're wrong, you can take more money away from the British government. And so there's like a theoretical maximum amount of grifting money from the British government.
Capitalism
Possible. I just don't remember.
You
what
joke.
it is.
I was just on Steam the other day, and I think I linked it to you. Did I not link you a meme? Someone had literally done that.
Oh yeah, you totally did, didn't you? Hold on. Yeah. Where they're
The guy looks, he looks back, he's like, nah, scratches it out. 40 pounds, not 50.
Yeah, I think I said somewhere on Steam, I was like, here's my high score of how much money I took from the British government. Can anyone beat me? In case anyone wants to look at that.
Oh, so good.
Oh, good lord.
Ugh, not a great sound.
Oh, yeah,
The
they're French.
Yeah.
of 19th century British finance.
And like based on like even like how they discharge their duties affects how much money they get. So bankrupt the bureaucracy %. I like it.
Yeah, hold on. Let me view this because it was a big discussion that I made. I made like 2 memes about this game, and one of them was the money thing.
In other news, there's a spider crab chopping off 2 people's heads at the same time.
It's
so
nothing.
Well, so yeah,
that's
that,
interesting.
A day in the
yeah,
life of the Obra Dinn.
there's a spider crab, and then there's a guy sitting on it, and he definitely has like human legs. So like, where'd he come from? Like, why would he have human legs if he came from the sea? You know?
Kind
His name's,
of.
like,
I mean,
Obers. He's a merman.
But he's got feetsies. Like
yeah,
got
but
little...
it's like flippers. I don't know.
Are they like flippers? They sort of look thicker, and
They look
I don't
like
know if he has
flippers.
toes, but like maybe he's just got really long socks. I don't know. At what point does this insurance adjuster think to himself, you know what? I don't need to deal with demon spiders.
I'm out. Demon spiders?
Well-
Nope, I'm out of here.
How am I gonna explain this one? Yeah.
The East India Trading Company is like, did you go like what?
Sorry. Did you put down here that he died being shot by a cannon from a squid? Can you explain that one?
Can you
Oh, man,
elaborate?
it's in the book. It's in the book, dude.
They're clearly crabs, not spiders. Whole different order of
Aquaman. Yeah, why does Aquaman... Well, I think Aquaman started out as a human. That's why he has feet. Maybe? I don't know. I don't know the particulars of the comics.
Shamefully, I am not all up on the comics either.
Enough of a comic nerd to know why Aquaman has feet.
My bad, y'all. I'll fix that for you next time you see me.
Oh, my.
We don't cover demon spider incidents. I'm sorry, this isn't covered under the East India Company's.
Yeah, it is interesting that that all of these things are covered under. I mean, like, yeah. What is the Obra Dinn like a British ship owned by Britain, or like?
Actually, I don't think. I think if you go back, it doesn't actually say HMS Obra Dinn, so it might not be a government ship. It might be an East India ship.
It's an East India Company ship, I'm pretty
Oh,
sure.
East. Okay, so it's we're not stealing money from Britain. We're stealing money from the East India Company.
Even better.
Okay, that makes sense. Maybe they knew.
All right. So we're coming up two more fates, and we'll be at the end of this sequence.
Active God, yeah. What? Wait, do we get to see? Is the bicycle kick guy in this one, or is he in a different place and I missed it?
Bicycle kick guy.
The
Yes.
guy who gets struck
Yes,
by
yes,
lightning,
yes,
and then
he's
the
next.
scene- Okay, cool. All right.
Perhaps
love this.
perhaps the truest thing to an active god in this game.
I mean, he probably got off easiest, frankly.
Getting shot, yeah, struck by lightning, yeah. Well, who does get off? Well, the people who
No
did
one.
get off
I mean,
easiest.
apart from the people who survive, obviously.
Yeah.
Hawk Seng Lao.
Uh,
Unfair, but he gets off easy.
No, because he gets like shot through the body.
executed.
It's not
That's pretty
instant death. Yeah. That
I
just
mean,
sucks.
spoilers.
I can't believe you're saying a guy who got executed got it off the easiest.
Well, I'm assuming he died quickly. I don't know. All right, minor note. Part of movement routing, believe it or not, is the fact that these railings actually have no collisions, so we walk through them whenever we can.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Not that we get to do it often, but
yeah. But it doesn't mean that you can drop down on the stairs from the other
Unfortunately,
side.
no.
You have to go around all the way.
we've actually gone through an incredible amount of effort to see like the extent of like the pathing in this game to the point I think of even no clipping through a couple of walls just to see what was behind him.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, we were thinking about that theoretical sort of idea where at the very, 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 very end of the game, there's those sets of fates. And in theory, if you could clip through that one wall, maybe that fate is on the other side and you could just skip everything in the game related to it, but no, it doesn't exist yet.
Lucas, a smart man, he didn't leave that door open for us.
It probably takes a lot more effort to leave it in there than to take it out, but who knows?
Again, positioning myself optimally so that I can have the minimum walking distance to the next thing. Oof.
I forget what the circles represent. There is something that the circles represent, but I don't remember what it is.
You mean on the stopwatch?
No, the stopwatch has to do with the chapter, right?
Yeah,
but like
the
the smoke trails circles around things sometimes.
Oh,
I think there's like an artistic reason for it, but I don't remember what it is.
I think we decided that it was just kind of like an artistic decision rather than anything lore based.
Okay, all right, that's probably right.
Get Lucas Pope on the horn.
Yeah, Lucas, remember
on
that
the horn. Nobody uses phones anymore.
Remember that moment you had where you were talking about Limbo with the devs and they're like, everything you know is wrong? That would be Lucas to us.
Yeah. Yeah. No, the circles totally mean something, dude. Or like the out of bounds where I'm like, yeah, so the door shoves you into this wardrobe and he's like, nope, that doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, what? That doesn't... How? What else could it be? Man, I'd love to see. Because, yeah, the out of bounds is actually sort of interesting. When I first found it, I was like, oh, cool. I found a soft lock in this game, which is, that's fun. Soft locks are fun. Because, like, Darkid was like, oh, you found a soft lock. That's stupid, but show me, because that's what Darkid does. So I show him, and then I'm like, oh, I'm stuck in this wardrobe, because basically you have a door closed onto you and shove you into a wardrobe. And I was like, oh, I'm stuck in here. And then I literally like walk out of it, outside of the ship, and all of a sudden I'm like floating off of the side of the ship, and I'm like, oh,
yep,
I'm out of bounds. That's interesting. It turns out it's not super interesting. There are some like small things that you can do, like if you save and load, it will drop you down to the floor that makes the most sense, sort of. So like if you're hanging over the water, it doesn't make sense, but if you go over the front of the ship where like a lower deck is sort of jutting out, you actually drop down to that deck early. Doesn't save any time, and in fact I think that's an actual soft lock, but
yeah. Unfortunately, the triggers are very well coded so that we can't access. They literally won't. They're not there until X, Y, and Z thing happens. So.
Yep. I mean, there are some fates that you can get early. I think one time I got the hanging leg.
Yep.
The outside of the ship, but like that doesn't do anything for you, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, not. Yeah, that was our theory. Our theory was if we could get out of bounds and then get into the captain's cabin, we could like get like one fate, the one lady in there, and that we could basically access the rest of the ship without doing the first three things. Doesn't work.
It does work.
I mean,
but you still have to.
You still have to do all three.
Yeah. So no point, unfortunately.
Sadly, not fast.
We're an hour in.
All right.
We're 2/3 of the way there.
I hope you all have enjoyed.
Oh my gosh.
Listening and watching, this glorious accomplishment.
Still cannot believe you would have submitted this. I should have submitted Captain % so that the wheel could have hit both of them. So some of this back to back. Because,
So we could both be banned from ever being here again?
I don't think you're getting banned. I think you should just not submit this game ever again.
Now that it's been run sometime, somewhere, just put it to bed.
You say it's been run in a marathon once, and, that's more than the speedrun deserved.
Don't think of this as a queue where it's like, all right, I'm going to step this up to and submit this to GDQ. Hey, look what I did on this marathon. No, this is it.
Yep.
This should be it.
But at least everyone gets to see the game, because, like I said, although none of us would particularly recommend this as a run, we absolutely all thoroughly enjoyed it as a casual game.
Yeah, I mean, if this gets someone to play the game who hadn't heard of it, I think it's done an excellent job. It's such a good game.
Very good. Yeah, I know. Interesting speedrun game. Yep. I mean, interesting is a word for it.
Interesting choice, maybe?
Yeah. Why did you choose this flapjack? Was it literally just because you were like, come on, explain your thought process? Because I remember seeing that message and I'm like, this is the stupidest thing you've ever done, and then it got accepted.
I thought about actually betting you that you should have to subscribe to my channel if it got in.
No, because I knew about the RNG wheel thing, and I'm like, knowing my luck is what I got in.
All right, so we position ourselves here so that we can proceed to the next area as quickly as possible.
It is an interesting... Oh, you didn't watch the smoke trail there. Whatever.
I didn't. Yeah, I missed it a little bit.
You should just submit it to GDQ and see what happens. That would be such a silly idea. Or ESA. ESA will take any... Well, that's
not true.
It's not true either.
You're just saying that because they took you once.
Yeah, because they took me twice, actually.
Oof. Big oof.
Sure, but I'm not sure what they called prime time. Yeah.
I mean, our runs weren't prime time at HEQ.
That's a good point, because like 2 a.m. is pretty much not. It's that 8 hour. It's in that 8 hour slot of time where it's not popular in either America or Europe. So probably not.
I mean, I don't care
like,
what slots we got. It was a hell of a time, and I highly recommend AGDQ to anyone who can afford to go and can spare the time. But man, running at like 1 in the morning wrecked me for the rest of the week.
Once everything sort of settles down, yeah, they've delayed SGDQ to a while due to the COVID-19 stuff. But
yeah.
Man, they should have canceled the voyage.
The voyage at this point, first person dead. Let's cancel it right now.
It's the East India Trading Company. I think. I don't think one death. I don't think they changed like anything after like a person died, because they didn't even know the second person died.
Yeah,
that's how little they cared.
Like historically, in real life, I think there was about a 50% death rate on long sea voyages in that time period.
Lord, goodness gracious!
They just fell on the 50% of the time everyone on the ship dies side of the fence.
What are the chances of that? It's like 2 to the 60, right? Something like that.
Are you mathing during a run?
Yeah, of course I am. What else do we have left?
Oh boy. All right, so this is the second to last sequence, but this is the longest sequence in the game.
Oh yeah, it totally starts here and then it just keeps going. Yeah. Between the scurvy and the rampant homicide, the ship was running quite well, but then the monsters came.
Nobody
died of
scurvy, no.
Well,
illness is about it.
Die of diseases is illness.
Yeah.
Specified.
All's fine, John. Narrator. All things were not fine.
I think I heard a lot of the crew at these times were actually criminals who were promised lesser sentences in exchange for good ship service. I wouldn't know about that for the East India Trading.
I believe that's because a lot of times East India Company will conscript from the crown, so that's historically accurate.
Yeah, because
free crew, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah, the British would basically take anyone and everyone they could get, scraping people off the streets and out of prisons. Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, the British at this time period, they were conscripting Americans pretty regularly, part of the cause of the War of 1812.
Yep.
Right. So that's fun.
If you're into history at all, here's your history lesson during a speed run.
That's the thing. There aren't that many Americans on the ship. There's only like
2.
One. The carpenter.
2. There's 2.
Carpenter is American.
Yeah, the carpenter and his mate are both American.
Oh, they're both Americans. Okay. Yeah. Everyone else is...
Which is not a spoiler. It's right in the book.
Yeah, it's literally in the book. Most everyone else is... I mean, like, they do distinguish between, like, Scottish and Irish and...
Which
Well,
they
I mean,
even voice acted that. That's such a good attention to detail. Even the voice acting is Scottish and Irish.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. But yeah, the voice acting is actually really good for this too, because like, looking at how he did it, like, he basically hired people from the internet and just got them to do it, that's such a wild idea to me, because it works out so well.
I don't know where he hired them, but they all did great, so...
Yeah.
On ship, 2K Kona, 58 3 head.
Just, oh Lord. Oh my gosh, yeah, we were talking about potentially doing mods, which is such a complicated idea for a game like this because the models are so detailed, right? But like,
Yeah.
you know, I think someone was like discussing replacing body models or something like that.
Please,
and I don't know
not Rick
how
Astley, not again.
Viable. Rick Astley would be too much. Nobody's body scanned Rick Astley in order to get his, you know, skeletal structure in order to determine putting his model in the Unity.
Do not underestimate the power of the internet.
If anyone has,
let us know.
But
I think I remember that these are really high poly models because there's no animation; they're all static. So he was able to go with really, you know, fine detail on the actual models themselves. And also because he couldn't, you know, cheat with bit mapping because it's all divot.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So being able to replace that would be, oh my gosh, yeah. So, but that's an idea, replacing just everyone's heads with freaking emotes from Twitch, you know.
That would be actually pretty funny.
It's Thomas the Cook, who is PogChamp now.
Hey!
You know, talking about Thomas the Cook. Hey, it's not a spoiler because he's in the book. Oh man, actually this whole sequence.
Yeah. So like I said, this is the longest sequence in the game, and the latter half of the sequence actually progresses faster than most because we're actually memory hunting off the ship.
Yep. Onto another ship.
Yeah.
Sort of. Actually,
Sort of.
We end up walking on water for like a solid amount of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, sort of looking at the rowboats, walking on water.
This guy catches it in the face.
Spoilers. Actually, no. Yeah, this
I mean,
is one
you
of
can
the
see him
easier
catching it
ones.
in the face right now.
Yeah.
Like how people died isn't a big question. That's pretty obvious. It's just who they are.
Solid meal, boys. Careful now. Take it slow.
Just a kind of a grouping of people over here having a little talk.
Shell? What shell?
All right, so we're coming up to another pair of deaths here.
Yep.
So I think we've alluded to the fact that there is only one. I think our biggest skip in the game, apart from the routing, is coming up in the next, 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
15 minutes is promising. Looking at your estimate, yeah, okay, it is 15. I can't do math.
For those of you who follow submissions, you know that they like us to pad your run with a little bit of time in case you go over. For scheduling, because Big John's got to make sure that he can fit everyone in and he can account for that sort of thing. This game is so optimized. I gave myself 60 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the whole range of runs. I mean, like the longest run, like even if you include like obsoleted runs for any percent. Let me see here. There are no obsoleted runs. That doesn't make sense. I'm not doing this right. Oh, weird. Whatever. They must have been deleted. Yeah, so like the whole range of runs, like the longest run that's on the boards is a 1:35:30, which is like still like nothing to sneeze at, but like
and then the world record is 132.47, I think.
Yep. So you have, less than 3 minutes of range between first and last.
Yeah.
We can go over estimate.
We could go over estimate. At this point, the only way I would go over estimate really is if the game crashed.
Or voluntarily.
But I'm just gonna, because I'm trying to ingratiate myself to the speedrunning community. I'm going to keep it under estimate.
You're like having to wait 30 seconds before starting the race. I mean, waiting 30 seconds for each scene is sort of par for the course. Actually, that'd be pretty fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, 30 seconds would be pretty fast. I don't know what the exact math is, and I think it's different for every single one. But it is like a minute to a minute and a half.
All right.
Yeah, the last guy who knew anything about this. I mean, I guess from our perspective, he's the first guy who dies who's related to this whole thing.
All right. So, interestingly, it swaps to the book here because we've stopped that chapter, but we're into the next one.
It's the only time that happens.
It's the only time it does that, and it can. If you're not paying attention during the speed run, you will literally look away and then get caught out when that happens to you. Which unfortunately this run encourages. It encourages you to become complacent.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Okay, first one. So what else is there to say about this?
Good question. Oh yeah, you need to look away.
Oh, I know. No, I did. I know what you're talking about, and I'm aware.
You gotta keep it family friendly.
I actually, believe it or not, I spent time making sure I checked all angles to know where I could and couldn't look.
Oh my gosh.
Yo.
It's highly unnecessary to me, but
Yo, Mifa.
Hey, it's Mifa, one of the
Obra Dinn speedrunners.
Obra Dinn speedrunners. At this point, we're a cult. We're like the Freemasons with the secret handshake that no one else can know our secret because it's so embarrassing. So what's up, Mifa? Yeah, Formosan guard says go to heck. Oh yeah. I mean. Oh yeah, what's his name? I don't even remember.
Don't just. Oh, you mean the guard?
I'm trying to remember.
Oh, Chao Tan
you
is
literally. You said Hawk Sang Lao by name.
Yeah, but I mean, his is the only one that's transparently obvious. His is the most obvious death in the whole game. If you can't understand who he is and how he died, you're basically playing the game with your monitor facing the wrong way.
You don't have to put that up. No, he literally said he's going to be able to censor it by not looking. There's no... Hide your kids, you need to put on...
By very hot, you mean not at all hot.
Yeah, not at all hot.
No.
If John actually watched my submission, which I wouldn't be surprised to find out that he didn't, I actually went through the effort of doing the same thing during the submission. There will unfortunately be no bazongas today.
What do you mean, unfortunately? This is a family-friendly stream.
For those of you who are looking forward to it, who are secretly giggling to yourself.
Oh my gosh. How had the run been? I mean, what can you say about a run?
It's
like
just
this,
art.
I totally lost the second bonking against a wall. It's gonna put me in third place. No, I don't. I never know my pace when doing runs like this, which is probably on me, honestly. Yeah. But
well, unless you're running splits. If you're running splits, then it's easy to tell how you're doing. So. But yeah, when you're running with just a monolithic timer, when it's differences of tenths or seconds, it's hard to tell.
I forgot how cool the fire effect was.
Oh yeah, the next one will actually be pretty cool.
the water and fire effects
Yeah.
are actually really cool, and how
I
know
don't
what
have
even
60
word you-
splits. Darkid does. He split every fate.
Is there an auto? There isn't.
He
an
did.
auto
He made
splitter.
he made ASL for it. There's an auto
Okay,
splitter.
then I might have used the auto splitter then. I don't remember though. This marathon ruined. Good lord. If your idea of a marathon, just saying,
is one with
watching
Bazongas.
the return of the Obra Dinn, and you've waited an hour and 20 minutes to see Bazongas. Is that a marathon that we should start?
No.
Priorities at that point.
Once again, positioning myself for better movement later.
Yeah, you literally don't open the book for any purpose in solving it, bro.
Yeah,
That is cool.
opening the book loses you time.
Yep. So any percent is literally just leave the ship as fast as is possible.
You want my super embarrassing moment from GDQ, like the moment I was most embarrassed. I was
Sure.
sitting in the practice room running this game. I think I was in the process of actually like finding out if our no clip worked, and a speedrunner walked up to me, and another runner walked up to me, and was starting to ask about the game. And unlike me at the time, he correctly discerned that the way to beat the game was simply to play through all the scenes. He was like, "It's just this, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, it is." And I was like, "I'm sorry, I didn't introduce myself. I'm Flapjack." And then he goes, "I'm Author Blues," and I'm like, "Oh my lord, I'm an idiot."
I didn't recognize him either. I stood next to him.
I'm like,
he was like,
"Oh my,"
"Oh hey."
I'm like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Obviously I don't watch your stream enough."
Author Blues, American hero,
I know.
guy who runs 350 games.
Yeah.
Didn't recognize him. Disgusting.
And his SMW one mine with Lack Attack was like super lit, and I was like, "Oh boy."
I mean, it's fine. Who cares?
I mean, I cared at the time. I was red faced.
Well, of course you do. So this guy got knifed. Spoilers.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean-
it's not big spoilers because he's got a knife in his shoulder.
I know, Mifa. We did too. We tried to make the clip go somewhere as well.
I appreciate that, Mifa, because I found that I'm like, oh man, there's gonna be no use to it, and then you you managed to get on the lower deck with it.
Spending
And I was like, hey.
you have to spend hours to get to the point to know whether or not it's useful as well.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
All right. So this guy is next, and the clever among you will notice I'm not actually waving my camera around during these scenes.
Looking at your feet, super.
Yeah,
awkward.
I'm just looking at my feet.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you might have got down all of the floors, but the problem was it doesn't super help. Yeah, spoiling the next 2 seconds. Spoiler: this guy gets speared.
You might not be able to see, but if you look really closely, you can tell that he's dead.
Well, he could still be breathing. I mean, literally, someone's like, "Hagen, are you still breathing? Can you row?"
And he didn't bother to look over to see this.
You could have a spear in your throat and still be able to breathe.
And row?
He's a strong Irish man. Who knows?
The Irish roll deep.
The spoilers here.
It's not spoilers because he's called O'Hagan, and if you look in the book for O'Hagan, he's the only O'Hagan.
He might get better.
Yeah, don't toss him on the cart yet.
Oh yeah, that one takes. It's weird how that one in particular, with how the watch appears. It has to do with the distance that you are from O'Hagan. On the left side, it works more consistently than the right side, but it's still like not consistent even then. It's just weird.
All right, we have one more death, and then we are on to our final scene and our only skip, which goes by so quick it's barely exciting. Don't worry though, it's actually not the end of the game.
I know he's mutinied, but how? I mean, yeah. It's one of those things where the more and more you play the game, there's like one guy who you definitely do not pity.
Oh yeah, it's actually I would say there's a few, but there's definitely one in particular.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
He got off a little too easy, frankly.
Yeah,
Mifa,
that's agreed. Yeah.
It's Storm Skip, Mifa, at the very end here.
Yeah, Storm Skip. It's barely a skip, which is why you might not remember it.
Yeah, just mash click. By the way, Mifa, when are you gonna get a sub 134?
Wow, can't believe you're
Actually,
calling out people in the middle of a run.
I don't even have an 90% run, which is probably for the best, honestly.
That's what I should have bet. I should have bet you that if this got in, you had to finish an 90% run. That would have been the most fitting punishment.
It would be the shortest over Dinn run I'd ever do too, and I would still just be.
You'd regret it.
It would be begrudging the whole time.
All right. There's these people in
Did you
this.
just call her it? Man, that's racist.
Whoa, what? Sorry?
What?
Oh, what? What are you talking about?
He says, "Shut it up." Like.
Oh. That's
No,
a colloquialism. That's slang.
that's a slang colloquialism, and they're saying "shut it up" as in like "shut your mouth," not like talking to someone else to say "shut it up."
Yeah, just stop talking.
I mean, there are plenty of racists in this game,
I can't
presumably.
believe you guys are defending the mutineers.
Come on, you can criticize them for being mutineers, but you can't criticize them for being faux racist. I have better games to run. Well,
It's
yeah, I would
1803,
like
I'm
to
pretty
think.
sure I can.
I would have liked to think that we all did, but
All right. Here we go. So we got to get through the book, and then we're 180ing down the stairs into the first mate's cabin, and that is the last sequence of memories.
right, yeah. Guy gets shot, other guy gets shot, guy gets knifed.
Yeah.
That's chapter 3, which has the worst music in the game, in my opinion. 'Cause
And it's still good.
very, it's still pretty good. Boom, boom. Boom, boom.
All right. Into the first mate's cabin. And here we go. 3 more. And it's not the end of the run after we see all 3, because we have to do our paperwork. We are an insurance adjuster after all.
That's right, yeah, because the run doesn't end when you leave. The run ends when you sign paperwork. I forgot about that. That's so funny.
All right.
Hey, glad to hear it, Sir Kashmir. Yes, this is a fantastic game.
Yeah.
Very, very highly recommended.
Maybe someone in chat can tell us how many times we've recommended that everyone should go out and play this game.
It's 4. It's 4 times. I've
It's
been
4
keeping
times?
count. It's one of the last things that I have keeping my sanity alive is being able to
You're just
count.
sitting there with a little piece of paper. There's another. There's another.
We need a notary to sign the papers. No, because we're in a
We just sign them ourselves. It's not. It's papers for the sake of the company, not for the crown. So
Yep. Maybe I'll do a meme run again someday. Don't do Captain %. That's my baby.
don't take another one of his precious
Yeah.
records away.
You'd expect that from the man who made Paper Please. Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, I don't know if he made other games. I don't remember.
As far as I can tell, not that he's published on Steam, but
I think he worked at like AAA studios prior to going.
Oh.
making. So those two are his like personal games that he's made by himself.
Personal projects. Okay. And he is working on another game. There are whispers.
which
Dude, this guy totally looks like the Mist book. I just realized that. Like at a glance. That's probably why they put over Dinn after Mist. It's a good idea.
sorry there, I had to mute my mic and sneeze, and you might have seen me panic for a moment.
Whatever.
I had to take my hand off my mouse.
Both won IGF Game of the Year. Only dev to have won twice.
Yeah, as I recall, this game, when it came out in 2018, was very well reviewed, and rightly so.
Papers, Please, when it came out in 2016. Yeah, both of them were game-changing from being able to express stories in a way that people hadn't really seen before.
Uncharted 2, wow.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's a pretty good one.
I actually like the Uncharted games a lot. For all their faults, I do love like the backdrop to the Uncharted games. So. Yes. So we mentioned that there is one fate in particular that it's basically impossible for you to get wrong.
Not know who it is. I mean, there's a couple. There's at least 3, I think, where they give the name as they're dying or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, 2012. Yeah, my bad. Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. Yeah, Papers, Please was from like forever ago.
5 years in Obra Dinn does not surprise me. There's an awful lot of polish on this game. There's a ton of polish on this game.
Yeah.
So much so that it disrupts the speedrun.
Yeah.
All right, so this is our final setup. So this is our last body. What we're going to do is position ourselves. This is actually the exit to the boat, that where we want to be at the end of the next memory. So what we're going to do is position ourselves close to the exit, but not touching it, because we can get a glitch where we soft lock, which I've actually also discovered recently. We want to basically set ourselves up to view his memory twice. So we're going to view it once normally, but then we're going to abuse it a second time.
Which is important. I mean, it's you might be able to tell. It's sort of hard to tell exactly what happens, other than what happens, but we'll get there.
Yep. We'll finish watching the smoke trail and we'll explain it as to the best of our knowledge. And it's actually somewhat interesting because it abuses a game mechanic that we would otherwise try and avoid.
Can you imagine a soft lock right at the end of the run?
I double-clicked by accident. Sorry for the startling noise. That's what happens when you double-click by accident.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so what happens is that obviously during a casual run, you're meant to be able to return to all these memories and view them again to try and glean any important details that you may have missed. Once you discover every body on the ship, what happens is the game prompts you to leave the ship, solve the fates, or leave the ship. And it does so in the form of a cutscene that you can't actually use your controls during, where the guy in the rowboat tells you to disembark. What we discovered is that if you're standing close to a body trigger, you can interrupt that cutscene by re-entering a scene. And when you exit that scene, the cutscene doesn't actually play. The cutscene of him yelling at you to get off the ship doesn't play. And it turns out that this is a pretty decent one to end on. And by doing that, we end up cutting about 10 seconds off because this is 10 seconds faster than listening to the whole cutscene.
Yep.
So we stand by the door.
It's really unclear why this is allowed, because you would almost sort of think that right after doing, a sort of memory, once that memory is done, you wouldn't have a grace period where you could re-enter a memory, but there totally is. It's probably like half a second or longer even.
And
it's like a decent amount of time.
But the other thing is, as far as we can tell, it was patched out on the Switch.
Oh, was it? I don't remember that part.
Yeah,
that's wild.
Yeah, it was patched out on the Switch.
Oh, yeah, I remember you telling me that. Yeah. Yeah, so they must have realized. It just seems weird.
All right. So we close the book, and then we immediately close the book here, and then we immediately mash left click. And there we go. And we're back into this memory.
The sound makes it the most obvious in that you hear that sort of lightning sound effect, and then you enter the memory. Those being overlaid is you almost never hear like things getting overlaid like that, so it's a lot more obvious.
All right, we look at this guy. He talks to us.
should go. Storm's nearly about, so we won't be coming back. If you've still business here, climb up and finish it. Else I'll make to port.
All right, and then it fades out slowly, and then we enter the paperwork phase of the game, which thankfully does not last long.
Finally, sit down so you don't fall.
So there's two things left for us to do. We have to complete the paperwork, and then we have to view our ending.
That's right. I forgot about the ending. How could I forget about the any percent ending? It's the best ending in the game.
I have no idea if there's anyone in my stream, in this stream, who normally watches me run this game. But if you are, and if you care to, we're getting close to tea time, so you can ready your best teacup emotes.
Oh my gosh.
All right, here comes our paperwork. Okay, that looks good. Yep, all right, yeah, that guy. All right, him. All right, sure, no problem. Yep, okay, there. Yep, that looks good. Yep, let's just sign it and be done with it. Good, we're done.
Did you not use keyboard controls?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, good. All right.
Yes,
Yeah,
T.
We're almost there.
We're almost to the part of the run that involves a cup of tea.
28,000 pounds for doing absolutely nothing.
I know. We just cost someone a lot of money in $1807.
Yep.
All right. Now we come to...
time-
Here we go.
When
It's-
does time precisely end?
Time ends on the letter. So this
Okay.
is tea time, everyone. Spam your favorite tea emote.
T-mote.
T-emote.
Red tea, yeah, that's an FFZ.
That is a good
too.
one. I didn't think of that. Yeah, Big John's FFZ emote.
Hell yeah.
There you go. All right, so time ends on the letter sliding off of frame. So we're gonna get some lines of subtitles here. I'm going to open the letter, and then I will call out time after a second or two after opening the letter. I will try and count it out.
Leave a letter at this hour. Must be important.
Yeah, get those T's in.
You might think about going to bed as well.
It must be
All right.
important.
Time is coming up, and time.
All right. Very
And-
good.
That was Return of the Obra Dinn Any Percent. I hope you all enjoyed watching and listening to us ramble for an hour and a half. What was the time?
I'm still waiting until because I have a fair bit of delay, but
Take on me
133
outro.
flat.
133.
133 flat.
Oh, that's a PB, everyone. We PB'd during a marathon.
Yay! He
All
did
right.
it.
All right, everyone. Thank you to Big John for putting this on. And shout outs to the chat, who are legends. I'm going to kick it back to Big John. All of you have a great day. Stay safe.
Adios.
Bye.
Okay, we're definitely gone. All right.
Okay. Awesome, guys. Thanks very much. See, wasn't
Took
that
something out of me?
so much fun?
That probably took a week off the end of my life, dude.
Oh, what? We had a blast.
I had not much to contribute, but at least, I could make
Hey,
jokes, so that's
You
something.
were around, yeah, exactly.